All right, I think it's a great time to get going again. First off, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Fitness Heptathlon Coaches webinar. I know we got a bunch of athletes, family members, and coaches on this. So excited to share this with you. This is the second season we are doing the Fitness Heptathlon. We're growing it and should allow for a much better, bigger competition, which I'm really excited about. So as we get into it, just a couple of ground rules as we, let's see if this clicked there. There we go. A couple of ground rules just about this. We have about 30 people in here. So one last reminder, remember, mute is your friend. If you have a question, make sure you raise your hand. The great Alex Ryder, our Director of Volunteers, is here to help answer questions or inform me when there is a question. So don't be afraid to use that chat box or raise your hand and he'll be calling on you. Like if you're multitasking, just remember in Zoom, it's just good to turn your camera off. That way we're not distracting everybody else. And if you guys have questions, please make sure you type them out. We want active participants. I want this to be clear and concise, but I know that maybe I'm a little close to it. So if you guys see something that just doesn't make sense, please let one of us know and we can hopefully answer that question for you guys. So the Fitness Heptathlon, this was created to have a program in states that is meaningful training and competition that can be accessed virtually and requires little to no equipment. One of our biggest goals when creating the Fitness Heptathlon is we didn't want to leave any of our athletes on the sidelines. So you are able to do this competition in your living room. You really don't need much besides a pen and a paper to track your score. So we're hoping it works for the majority of athletes. The other thing that's great about the Fitness Heptathlon is that it improves health and wellness for our athletes, unified partners, family members, anyone that's involved with it. It's creating a competition that, is that fun competition side that we all miss while improving the health and wellness of our people. This Fitness Heptathlon offers a lot of opportunities for athletes, unified partners of all ability levels. If you can't do a push-up, that is totally fine. We can find a different upper body exercise for you to do. If you're struggling with burpees, there's other endurance exercises you can do. There's a wide range of ability exercises that hopefully everybody will have one in each category. The great thing about this is that we can do this individually or as a unified pair. So, if you want to take this on your own, that's great. Compete against other peers from across the state, that's great. Or we can make it unified. Alex Ryder is here to talk about virtual volunteers and how they are available if you need them. Alex, do you want to touch on that really quickly?
Let me take myself off mute real quick. Yeah, so virtual volunteers, I know if any athletes are on, you guys would have been able to put that in your registration process. So if you need a unified partner, we will be connecting them to you. Some of you have already been connected. The rest of you, we will be connecting you. If anybody still needs a unified partner or maybe forgot to put it on their form, I will put my email in the chat and feel free to reach out to me at any point and we can get you set up. We want to make sure that our volunteers are all trained up. They'll be ready to help you guys out and train right alongside with you.
Great. Thank you, Alex. So as we get into the details of the Fitness Heptathlon, the Fitness Heptathlon participants will select 7 exercises from a list of 20 options to train and compete throughout the entire season. Athletes will select 1 exercise from each of the 7 categories. The 7 categories are agility, balance, cardio endurance, upper body strength, lower body endurance, and balance, I believe is the one. We'll go to the next page and they'll have them, but athletes will select one exercise from each of those 7 categories and then compete in those same 7 exercises each time they record scores. So for the baseline score, the midpoint score, and the end of the season score, you will do the exact same exercises that you did throughout the season. The baseline score in each of the 7 exercises is recorded at the beginning of the season. Baseline scores, and this is the most important thing from this webinar, are due January 22nd. So that is next Friday. So you have from the Monday of next week when the winter games start to Friday to get your baseline scores in. At the midpoint of the season, we'll ask for another set of scores to help determine the divisions. We'll get into that a little later, but midpoint scores are due February 19th, obviously of 2021. So from the week of February 15th to the 19th, you'll have a chance to input those scores. And then at the end of the season, we'll ask for a last set of scores to determine the final scores / places for all participants. And that will be due March 11th. So I believe you have from March 8th to March 11th to get those in. Let me check the chat really quickly, make sure we are good to go. Perfect.
Hey, Riley, I think Michelle had her hand raised at one point. I'm not positive if there was still a question, but Michelle.
Yeah, I still have a question. I have a couple of people who I know who are blind, and they also have and I also have one who's hard of hearing. And so I was just gonna ask how they're gonna, if they want to participate. So is there a way that they can still participate?
Michelle, great question. So in the coach's guide, which I will be sending out after this call with the recording, there are different, workarounds for each of the exercises. Different modifications is the word I was looking for, that they can participate in. They might not be able to do every category, which is totally fine. If you can only do 6 of the categories, totally fine, and we will division accordingly. Does that work? Perfect.
Yeah, that works.
Great question, Michelle. So the one big difference of the fitness heptathlon that is different than pretty much any sport we offer is that our scoring is based on the percentage of improvement. So it's not about how many reps you can do, how many push-ups you can do, how long you can hold a plank. It's how much you improve between the baseline scores to the midpoint scores, and then from the midpoint scores to the final scores. So that is the one key difference for the fitness heptathlon compared to all the other sports. So as you can see here, the scoring based on percentage of improvement, if I improve 11 to 20% on each of the 7 categories, I would get 14 points, and that becomes my score for the fitness heptathlon. I'm going to stop it here again just to see if we have any questions, because this is probably the hardest part to get about the fitness heptathlon, the thing that's the most different.
Riley, one quick question from the chat. Just wanted to confirm, will spreadsheets be provided to submit athlete program scores for the athletes?
So we'll actually be submitting via Smartsheet link, or you can submit with the event overview, which I will be showing. But they will not be submitting via like an Excel spreadsheet. But we'll go over that here in a sec. Okay, moving on here. Let's see if it'll go. There we go. So this is the event overview for the fitness heptathlon. So you can see the 20 events that are listed here. Like I said, you'll pick one of each category. So you'll pick an agility exercise, you'll pick a balance exercise, you'll pick a core exercise. That's the one I missed earlier. Lower body strength, lower body endurance, cardio endurance, and upper body strength. As you can see there are at least 2 in each category and sometimes upwards of 4 in the categories. you want to choose whatever's best for you, like I said, you're not always going to be able to do push-ups, but maybe you can do chair push-ups. If you can't do wall sits, but if you can do sit to stand, that's great. The beauty of the fitness heptathlon is that you are competing against people that do all sorts of exercises in each of the categories. So it's a fun way to compete against all your peers from across the state. This is another document that we'll make available to you after this meeting is over. I'll send it up in the follow-up email tomorrow. So baseline scores. So baseline scores are due next week from January 18th to January 22nd, like I said before. Athletes, coaches will need to submit their scores by the 22nd for individuals to be eligible to participate. For example, I am a unified partner for this event. If I do not get my scores in by the 22nd, I will not be able to compete and be awarded at the end of the season because you need a set of 3 sets of scores to be able to compete in this exercise. So please, if you take one thing from this webinar is get your scores in by January 22nd. So you guys are all eligible to participate in this great event. We will set up reminders throughout the season to get your scores in for the midpoint scores and at the end of the season. But the key to this is making sure you get your scores in by January 22nd. To submit your scores, please either submit the event overview, which was the previous slide that will be on our website, or enter into the Smart Sheet form. And below is the Smart Sheet link. I'll send out this presentation so that you guys have it. It's also on our website. If you cannot find it, please email me. I believe our website goes live tomorrow, so make sure you're looking out for it. And if you have any questions, I'll have my email at the end, but please don't hesitate to reach out. Midpoint scores. So this is the one big difference. I know a ton of you athletes and coaches did this event in the fall season, which was great, but it was a little, it wasn't as long of a season. So there's going to be some big differences, and this is the biggest one. The midpoint scores are due from February 15th through February 19th. Once again, we'll remind you as those dates come up. But the midpoint scores are how we are divisioning competitors. We add up all the points based on percentage of improvement, like we said before, from the baseline scores to the midpoint scores, and then division based on gender, age, and then points earned. Once again, to submit the scores, you're going to go to the same link you do for the baseline scores and put those in, or submit your event overview. You can do either or, both work, but make sure you get those scores in. If you just submit your baseline scores and your endpoint scores, you're not eligible to participate or be awarded. So make sure we are setting up a time to do input 3 different scores. I will put the Smart Sheet link into the email tomorrow as well, just so we are on the same page with everything. Okay, lastly, we talked about the other scores, but final scores will need to be submitted from March 8th to March 11th. Athletes will be division based on percentage of improvement based on their midpoint score. So we will put you in divisions after the midpoint score, and then your percentage of improvement from the midpoint score to the week of your endpoint score will determine where you place in your division. The key to this is athletes will need to complete the same 7 exercises throughout the entire season. So when you're training, feel free to do different exercises, but when we're putting in our scores and calculating, make sure you're doing the same upper body workout. Make sure you're doing the same core body strength, agility down the line. We want to keep those exercises the same so we can see how much you guys improve from when you started to the middle of the season to the very end. Scores will be revealed. Scores/places will be revealed at our celebration week for our virtual winter games. That's the week following March 11th. So I believe it's March 15th through the 19th, but please check out the SOA virtual website for more information on that. Lastly is the same submission forms and event overviews the entire way. So those aren't going to change. Where you submit your scores aren't going to change. You know, from January 18th to January 22nd, it'll say baseline, and then we'll close it down after the 22nd, and then it will say midpoint scores, so on and so forth. So just being aware of that will really help you out along the way. So I'm just going to pause here for a second, check the chat, see if we have any questions. It looks like Alex is doing most of them. Is anybody?
Hey, Riley, so just so everyone knows, I did just put the Fitness Heptathlon Coaches Guide in the chat. And I know Riley will be sending that out tomorrow as well, but just you can also click on it there.
Perfect. Yeah. So that coach's guide, which brings me to my next slide. So great timing, Alex. Resources. So one of the other improvements that we have made that we know we didn't meet our standards for are our resources for this event. So we have a coach's guide with instructions and videos for every single workout on that event overview. So for all 20 exercises, we have instructions, what equipment you'll need. For a lot of them, you don't need anything. And then how to calculate scores. And then if you're still confused, there are videos available for each of the workouts. There are Special Olympic athletes from across the country that filmed them and did them. So please watch those. Those are exactly the way we want them done in the state of Washington. If you're just looking for the video guide, like I said, I'll put this one in as well in the email tomorrow. There is a one-page document with all the videos. If you don't want to go through the coach's guide, you know, the coach's guide is 30 pages. And you just want to look at the videos, I have a one-pager that has the links to all those, so you can just look at those.
And for those on this call, I just put that in the chat as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Alex. Office hours. So the other great thing that we will be offering this season, and this is for all of our sports, but I know it'll be super important for Fitness Heptathlon, is office hours. Every Tuesday starting next week, from starting January 19th, from 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., we will be having Fitness Heptathlon office hours. So what are those? I will be joining a call much like this, and I'll just sit and answer questions until we have no more questions. If you have questions on a workout, how to submit, when to submit, if you have any questions on the Winter Games at all, feel free to join that. It will be a standing link. I'll do it all season. So from January 19th to, I believe, March 16th, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but we will be offering those same Fitness Heptathlon office hours to help you guys out. So if you have a really challenging workout and you're not sure if you're doing it correctly, great example is a push-up. Does this count as a push-up? You know, I'm here to help you with that. Any questions you might have, if I can't answer them right away, I'll get your email or phone number. I'll check with, you know, people on our staff that know the answers and then get back to you as soon as possible. Like I said, I'll send this presentation out so you have that Zoom link. I'll also put it in the email. But make sure you're utilizing those, you know, not only for the Fitness Heptathlon, but if you're doing the Winter Wellness Cup. If you have any questions, you know, the SOA staff, Special Olympics Washington staff, is here for coaches, athletes, family members. We want to help you guys out as much as possible. So please don't hesitate to come, ask questions. If something's confusing, doesn't look right, we want to know about it. So that wraps up. I know I wanted to keep it pretty short, pretty brief, to go over the most important things. Like I said, this is the second season we're doing this. So hopefully some people have a good idea, you know, what's going on, how to run the competition. But if you guys have any questions, please raise your hand. And Alex, if you don't mind calling on them. If no one has questions, great. I will share this recording after, probably tomorrow. But then please don't hesitate to reach out. Like I said, I'll put my email here. Write that down. Any fitness heptathlon related question or winter games related question, please reach out. So I'll stop talking here for a sec, and you can raise your hand or type in the chat box, and we can.
Riley, we have one chat real quick, and then I'll get to those who have raised their hands. One question in the chat: do adaptations to exercises such as box height have to be cleared with you first?
Yes, if you don't mind just sending them to me, it shouldn't be a problem, but I just want to look at it to make sure before we give it the okay.
Also, I just want to throw in one quick point that information packets are scheduled to start being mailed out on Friday. Those are going to go to those who have registered. It'll also be emailed out. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Looks like I can start going through those questions. It looks like Alice Ann has a question, Riley.
Perfect.
Hi, Riley. Great job. You probably mentioned this, and I apologize if I missed it, but can unified partners submit scores for their athletes, or can athletes and unified partners submit their scores separately?
Yeah, so they can submit them separately. The unified partner can fill it out for the athlete as well. I know a couple people did that last season. So whatever way you can get the scores in, as long as it gets in the Smartsheet link or the event overview, either or work. Great question.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like the next one, sorry if we're going out of order here. We'll go to Peggy next. We can come back to Peggy. Desiree.
I have a question. So if our unified partner can only do certain things, but we can do like the other, do we have to do the same like exercises?
No, great question, Desiree. So you and your unified partner do not have to do any of the same workouts. You can do all the same. You can do a couple of the same and a couple different. It's whatever workouts you all want to do. The way we do it is we'll calculate your points. So whatever, say, Desiree, you and I are unified partners. I'll calculate my points. They'll calculate my points. We'll also calculate yours and then combine them together. So I hope that helps. But yeah, feel free to do whatever workouts you want to do. Your unified partner can do whatever they want to do, and we'll add the points and make it work.
Thank you.
Looks like we have Lizzie next.
Yes. So, oh, I gotta put it lower. So am I right? First of all, how do we submit the scores, and are the Wellness Cup and the Fitness Heptathlon the same thing, or are they two? And how do we turn in our scores?
Good question, Lizzie. So the Winter Wellness Cup and the Fitness Heptathlon are two different events. So if you're doing both, you'll need to submit both set of scores. So you'll submit a Winter Wellness Cup score and a Fitness Heptathlon score.
And I also got the email from Tynan, my athlete leadership mentor, about this, and she paired me up with a unified partner, but I believe in the email it was a mistake putting my name as the unified partner and my partner as the athlete. I'm actually the athlete, and the other one that is the unified partner. I'm an athlete.
Perfect. Well, let me go look at that tomorrow, Lizzie. I'll check in on that, and then we'll let you know, but we'll get that figured out.
Riley, a good question in the chat. For a push-up, can you use chairs?
Yeah, so on the event overview, and if you go through the coach's guide, there's two different options of push-ups. You can do chair push-ups, and you can do just normal push-ups. Whatever one you want to do, that's great, but just make sure you're doing that throughout the season. So if you get, if you start with chair push-ups and you get strong enough to do real push-ups, make sure when you're doing your scores, you continue to do chair push-ups as your score so we can see the percentage of improvement for that. But yes, both work. And for all the exercises, they should have modifications that you can do. So just look at the coach's guide for those.
Right. Daniel, looks like you have a question.
Yeah, this is my first year doing this, so to ask Riley for the whole process and stuff, would more of the information regarding the fitness heptathlon on submitting the scores and stuff, would that all be on the info sheet on how to do this very easily?
Yeah. So we'll send out an info packet, like Alex said, by the end of the week. We'll send out the recording. I'll send you tomorrow. Everybody that was on this call obviously got the email. We'll send out, office hours link, smart sheet link, coach's guide, and video resource guide. So I'll put them all in one email. So when you go to submit, Daniel, and if you're confused, I can put my email in the chat, but also if that doesn't work and you have more questions, just reach out to me and I can help you out one-on-one.
I do also have one more.
Okay.
Do we pick the exercises we do, or do you guys send us random ones?
You pick whatever exercise you want to do. So
Oh.
for example, I really need to work on my squats. So for this season, I'll be doing squats as my lower body strength one. You can do whatever ones you feel like you want to work on or you're good at or whatever. It's up to you. It's the beauty of the fitness heptathlon. I want to see if Peggy Haywood. Peggy, did you have a question?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute last time.
That's okay.
I had a question about the virtual awards. Since we're doing the mid score, will there be information on what category you're in before that starts? Because last time it scrolled really fast, it was really small, and you didn't know where you were, and if you blinked, you might miss your placing. So since you're mid scoring, will there be like you're in category such and such, so you know how to watch it?
There was no plans of that, Peggy, but that's a good recommendation. Let me take that back to our team, and then we can probably definitely do something for you on that. So there's no plan. Sorry about that, but we'll try and put it in for this season.
Thank you.
All right. Looks like Michelle was the next one I saw with the hand up.
Yeah. So for the I am doing the I have friends who are gonna do the adaptations. So, but like for instance, with the push-ups and stuff, if you said that if you're doing the chair push-ups at first, you have to stay with those. So you can't change up you can't change how you do certain exercises, even though you are better at it, even though you've grown.
Correct. We want to see, like I said, I want to see the percentage improvement from where you started to where you go. That doesn't mean when you're training or practicing, you can do normal push-ups, that's fine. But when you're doing the scores and, doing the sets for the scores, you need to do the same ones every time so we can keep it consistent.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
It looks like Lizzie was next.
Yes. If only I didn't. I just hope I didn't forget my next question. Let me think. Oh yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh gosh. What I was gonna say is the nearby club at Harbor Square Athletic Club, which has a pool, of course. I go there for my swim. I go for a swim for 45 minutes, continue my swimming training. I was wondering if the heptathlon can also include swimming, because as you guys may or may not have seen, I've submitted videos of myself swimming in the club and use my iPad to video myself inside this stadium friendly see-through bag to keep it dry.
So unfortunately, Lizzie, that is not a part of the fitness heptathlon. All the exercises, so we do have 20 exercises, so there's a lot, the menu of choices, but swimming is not one of them. So sorry
Why
about
not?
that. But what's that?
I said, why not?
I just wasn't one of the 20 exercises we chose. You know, not everybody has access to a pool. You know, we have to be able to produce this with, you know, anybody that has little to no equipment. And with swimming, you need a big piece of equipment in the pool. So keep swimming. That's a great way to train.
A big piece of equipment, you mean a pool?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, all right, Brittany, I think you
Yep.
were next with your hand up.
Yes, I was wondering, can we do walking?
So no, it's a
Like-
great way to train. It's kind of the same thing, but we want to keep it to the same 7 exercises just because it's a little more measurable. But you could walk the 10-yard walk, run or roll. You know, I think walking is a great choice for some of them, but yeah, it's just not one of the exercises we are offering. However, the Winter Wellness Cup, there will be a section for walking and stuff like that. So check that out if that's of interest for you.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Anna or Anna? I'm going to guess Anna. I think
Oh.
you're on mute.
Looks like we're on mute. Looks like we're still on mute. Let's see. There we go.
There we go.
I was wondering if, like, for example, my coach Becky from North Sun Stars had talked, and I'm just gonna send in scores. She's gonna send them in for me because I'm totally new to this and I don't feel comfortable like using the internet until I learn a little bit more about it, at least the website. And then also just was wondering, are there gonna be paper copies where, like, for example, I can take a picture of it and send it to my unified coach?
Yes.
Like
So, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but yeah, we'll make paper copies available. You know, I would say contact your coach. Like you said, it's a great way for, you know, coaches, athletes to get involved. If they're submitting your scores, if you don't feel comfortable, totally fine, totally get it. But just make sure we're getting those scores in by January 22nd. So, and I saw Daniel's question in the chat real quickly. Once again, we have 20 different exercises. Some of them will be from your sports. You know, I come from a sports background. You know, I know Alex does too. And all these sports, why they don't, you know, all have a ball involved. You know, some of them don't seem like they're sports intensive. If you get into them, it's everything you'll need for when we get back onto the field, whenever that is. So while it's not a typical basketball or softball exercise, everything you're working on here is sports related. And that's the beauty of this thing. So, yeah, I guess I don't see any more questions. Let me put my email in the chat real quickly. But I want to thank all you guys for coming out tonight. Once again, this is somewhat of a new event. We were the first state to offer this back in October, and I think only a couple have offered it since. So we are kind of on the cusp of things here. With new events come questions. Please make sure you're reaching out to me, Alex, Alice Ann, who's on this call. If you have any questions at all, we're here for you guys. But I want to thank you. I'll be sending an email out once again with the coach's guide, office hours, video guide, and how to submit the Smartsheet link tomorrow. Just be on the lookout for that. But if we don't have any more questions, I'll let you guys go enjoy your Tuesday night. So thank you so much, and we will be chatting soon.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chance. Donnie, good seeing you. Barb, good seeing you. Michelle, good seeing you. Lizzie, good seeing you. I'll see you guys later.